What is up, guys? If you're watching this video, you are interested in the ultimate Palworld tier list. Palworld's been absolutely exploding lately, and I'm very lucky to have gotten into early access and played over 40 hours in the game. And in this ultimate tier list, I'm going to be rating every single pal in the game. This is the most definitive tier list on YouTube. So if you like this, please crush the subscribe. Please hit that notification bell. I put so many hours into making this, and I really feel like it's going to help you extensively. Please check the video description for individual chapters. So how this video is going to be laid out is every 5 pals is going to be in its own video chapter. So pal 1 through 5, 5 through 10, onwards and onwards. Over 100 pals are going to be rated here. Every single pal that is in the version of the game that I'm playing right now at launch is going to be covered. This is going to be very, very extensive, guys, and it's taken me a lot of time, but I think you guys are going to absolutely love it. So without further ado, let's get into the tier list. So here we are at the start of the tier list, guys. One quick note is going to be that the early pals, let's say 1 through 20 in the numbering scheme, are generally going to be the pals that are easiest to get and are the beginner pals in the game. I'm going to be covering those ones first, and then going up in numbers. As you go up in numbers, generally the rarity of the pal increases. And when you get to between about 75 and 90, you start getting into some of the boss tier pals or some of the ultra rares. So just to note that if you're looking for the ultra rares, it's going to be near the end of the video. And if you're looking near the beginning of the video, it's going to be mainly the most accessible pals, the pals you're going to be using when you start your journey. So let's start out with pal number 1. And I do have extensive notes, guys. So if you see me looking over here to the left, I'm looking at my notes. The first pal we're going to be covering is Lamball. Now, Lamball is an element neutral pal, guys, and I'm going to be covering this in a separate video, what elements mean. But basically, very similar to Pokemon, there's a element scheme that certain pals are strong against other pals and weak against other pals. So what I want to say here right away is that Lamball, Cadaver, and Chickpea are basically the 3 base pals in the game. These are the ones that the game intends you, even though you don't have to, it intends you to catch first. Of these 3, I would say Cadaver is by far my favorite. Lamball, I'm going to be honest, is pretty average. I wouldn't really recommend Lamball for much at the beginning of the game. The problem about Lamball mainly is that it's not that great at fighting, and it's not incredible at your base. So what Lamball can do, it does have handiwork level 1, transporting level 1, and farming level 1. If you don't know what these traits are, they basically are what the pal can do in your base. So there's going to be basically 2 types of pals. There's going to be the pal that is predominantly used for fighting other pals and is helping you in the overworld. And then there's going to be the type of pal that is helping you back at base. Lamball definitely belongs in the second category. It's mainly a base pal, but honestly, it's not the best base pal in the game. So yeah, I'm putting it in pretty average. I don't hate it. It's not bad to catch these. You should definitely be catching at least 10 of all of the basic pals just for the XP boost. But realistically, Lamball is not the best pal in the game. Now we're going to be going on to Cadaver first. Cadaver is absolutely S tier. So number 2 in our list, Cadaver, absolutely S tier, an incredible pal. The reason this pal is so good, it's not that great at fighting, but it can definitely do the job in the early game. But what Cadaver is so good at is it has handiwork level 1, gathering level 1, mining level 1, transporting level 1. What that means is that except for like farming realistically, in the early game, Cadaver will basically be your best bet around the base. Now, what you specifically want to be doing is looking for Cadavers that are not lazy. There's a lot of Cadavers that are very lazy in the traits. However, Cadaver is really a workhorse in the early game. I really love Cadaver, and I think by far, every time you start a game, you're going to want at least 3 to 4 Cadavers in your base working. So yeah, Cadaver, absolutely S+ tier. I really love it. Chickpea. Chickpea is pretty average, just like Lamball. It's definitely not great, not terrible. This is a almost exclusively in your base type pal. You're not really going to be using this for fighting ever. Realistically, pretty much ever. But what Chickpea does for you is it lays food. So you're going to need these in your base because you're going to want to have food kind of on an auto generation and going into your boxes. So chickpea is definitely useful. Of these free pals, you're going to be capturing all of them, guys. But by far, Catava is the one in the early game that is going to be carrying you and is going to be really good. Of these free base pals, I wouldn't recommend using any of them to fight realistically. But if you do in the very early game, Catava is your best option by far. And these are all element neutral pals, so they're not really strong or weak against anything, mainly because, again, they're meant to be used at the very beginning of the game. Now we have our first element pal, which is going to be Live Funk. So it's a grass element. Let me see if I can find this little guy. Put Live Funk. Live Funk is pretty damn good, guys. I would put him in the amazing category. The thing about Live Funk that I really actually like is that he has a lot of skills. So he has planning level 1, handiwork level 1, lumbering level 1, medicine level 1, production level 1, gathering level 1. So what you're going to basically be seeing is that Live Funk plus Catava can do pretty much anything. They can do like almost anything in the game. So at the beginning of your base, my recommendation, honestly, is to have one Catava and one Live Funk. At least, and probably multiple sets of these. They're really good. And in combination, they're incredible. Where Lamball and Chickpea just have less utility. So I'm gonna put Live Funk a little bit higher. The only reason it's not going into the best tier list here, guys, is because in the S plus tier list, Live Funk I wouldn't say is incredible in terms of fighting early on, and more importantly, Catava is a lot easier to attain. Live Funk can be a little bit rare in the really early game. So I think Catava is just a little bit better overall. Let's go on now to Fox Park at level 5. This is a fire element type PAL and incredibly good. I'm just going to tell you right now, Fox Park is incredibly good and is going to be in the S plus best PAL tier, 100%. The reason that Fox Park is so damn good is because it's really the first one that you get a partner skill with in the game. For those of you who don't know, some pals can basically, you can craft harnesses, you can craft things to ride them or use them as a partner skill. Fox Park has a really incredible ability where it's used as basically a flamethrower. It can use to create fire. This is going to be your first fighting pal in the game, realistically. I think Fox Park is probably one of the best early game fighters. I used it extensively. Really liked it. Fox Park is incredibly good as a pal. Now let's go on to number 6, which is Flock. This is a water element type pal. Let me see if I can find him in the little list here. Here he is. Flock is kind of, I don't want to say he's average. I'm going to say he's amazing. I do like Flock. Now, the thing about Flock is, unlike Fox Park, where he's really only used for combat, Fox Park was not good in terms of base building. Flock is quite good. He's got handiwork level 1, transporting level 1, watering level 1. So this is the first one that basically has watering as a skill. Now, you're going to need watering when you're growing crops. So Flock is quite useful and is nice in that way. But he's really outshined a little bit later on. I would say he's amazing for the early game because you need watering. But actually, once the game goes on, he's probably going to go to pretty average. So, that's a little bit debatable. But I'm going to put him in the pretty average because I think his utility really starts to ramp down after the early game. So now we're going to go to Sprocket or Sparket, which is the first electric type PAL. So he has handiwork level 1, transporting level 1, generating electricity level 1. Generating electricity, guys, to be completely frank with you, isn't that important in the early game. It will become more and more important. Let me see if I can find this little guy. Where is he at? And here he is, guys. Here he is. Sprocket. To be honest with you guys, Sprocket is kind of a what's the point pal, in my opinion. Sprocket is kind of one of those things that you're going to have other electric pals that are better. And even though he's really cool, he's definitely the Pikachu-esque pal. So a lot of people are going to get him just for that. But honestly, not very good. So he has handiwork level 1, transporting level 1, generating electricity level 1. generating electricity isn't that important in the early game, and when it becomes important, you're going to have better pals. So Sprocket, I don't think is super good. Now, what is nice about Sprocket, he is definitely one of the more unique looking pals, and a lot of people are going to like him just because of its similarity to Pikachu. As somebody that played the old Game Boy games, I was in the original Pokemon generation, a millennial. I 100% understand this, guys. I was playing back in, blue, red, green. Yeah, absolutely cool looking pal, but honestly, it is kind of a what's the point pal because there are better pals, absolutely. So, not terrible, not in the please just don't category, but honestly, a little bit underwhelming. So, now let's go on to the next one, which is going to be Tansy, another grass type pal. Here we go. We got him. Tansy, what do I think about him? Actually, amazing. Tansy is really good. Now, the reason Tansy is so good is look at these strengths, guys. So, in terms of the traits he can have, he has planning level 1, handiwork level 1, lumbering level 1, transporting level 1, gathering level 1. So, very similar to Kadiva. He's kind of a jack of all trades, pal. He's really good. Now, the only reason I don't put him in the best pals is because I don't, obviously, you're not using him primarily as a fighter, and Tansy's harder to find. Absolutely way harder to find than like Kadavas, which are just all over the place. Tansy's a little bit harder to find. So, honestly, I still think Kadava deserves that kind of top tier, but Tansy yeah, top of amazing. So, touching that S tier, I really do like Tansy, and I think he's really good. Now we go to Ruby, the first fire-based pal. Ruby. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Let's find Ruby and then we'll talk about her. Here we go. Please just don't. Please don't. I don't know why you would ever get this pal. This is really a bad pal. This is the first one that I think is absolutely terrible. In terms of what they bring to the table, only kindling, a level 1, which you don't need because you already have Fox Park that you can find much easier and is better at actually fighting. So there's no real reason to have Ruby in the game. They don't really contribute anything. They don't really bring anything that's unique. So yeah, Ruby, I feel like it's kind of a bad pal, and I would just say it's just please just don't. Now we got Pingullet. Pingullet is actually a really cool little guy. I like this guy a lot. Let me find him in the list here. And then, yep, there he is. Pingullet, I think, is an S plus tier pal. Really like Pingullet. Now, so what can he do? Handiwork level 1, transporting level 1, watering level 1, cooling level 1. So he's got some interesting things. He's very easy to find in the early game, which is one of the reasons I put him right here on the S plus. Not going to be using him that much for fighting. Generally, not always. There are exceptions. I'm looking at you, Anubis, but a lot of pals that are smaller are not the best fighters. The thing about Pingullet that makes him an S plus tier pal is he is an absolute beast at your base in terms of production. You put these guys on the production line and they can absolutely smash things up. I would highly recommend getting at least 4 to 5 Pingullets in the early game. I really like them. I think Pingullet is one of the best early game pals. And yeah, really good. So let's move on from Pingullet and go to Pinnaking. Now, this is a water / ice based pal and is definitely a tier up. Now, he's a little bit difficult. I would say Pinnaking probably isn't amazing. I can't really not put him in amazing. Now, he has level tier 2 skills. This is kind of an exception. Remember when I was telling you guys that a lot of the early game pals are in the 1 through 20 rank? Pinnaking, you're going to be seeing a little bit later than that realistically, but he is good. So basically what he has is handiwork level 2, transporting level 2, watering level 2, mining level 2, cooling level 2. So he's kind of a little bit of an upgrade of Pingullet. He's kind of an upgrade of that. You're not going to be getting him in the early game, so that's something you do have to note, and probably is why I can't really put him in the S plus tier pal. He's okay for fighting. He's okay in the base. He actually has quite a bit of base utility, but he can be used to fight as well. So Pinnaking, I think, is an amazing tier pal, and yeah, I really like him. Not the best pal in the game, but not bad at all. Now we're going to go to Jolthog. Now this is an electricity-based pal. Here we go. We've got Jolthog, and he does have a variant too, so he has the ice variant. But we're going to mainly be covering the lightning variant, and then we'll touch really quick on 12B, which is going to be Jolt Hog, the cyst variant or cyst variant. So Jolt Hog is, oh, I mean, pretty average. I would say, a lot of these early electric Pokemon are not really too good, to be completely frank with you. Generating electricity level 1, that's it. So at the base, he's not going to be doing that much. And honestly, you're never going to be taking this guy to fight. To be honest, I'm going to put him in What's the Point? And he also has Jithold Cyst variant, which is a cooling level 1 variant of this. So honestly, both of these are kind of meh. So you can bleed into this variant of the PAL. I was about to say Pokemon there, guys. But you can bleed into this variant of the PAL. Neither of the Jolt Hogs are good, to be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of them. Yeah, let's just move on. The next one we're going to be looking at is Gumas, PAL number 13. Gumas is interesting and has some utility in the early part of the game. The reason Gumas kind of has some utility is because he's one of the first pals that you can get that is actually good for planning. So because of that, I'm going to put him in pretty average. The problem about Gumas is once you use Gumas and once you get other pals that can do planning, you're never going to be using this guy again because he really doesn't do anything other than planning. So he just sits around your base. He does have logging assistance as a like a trait that can happen. But yeah, this guy is not great, to be honest with you. I really like his character design, and I like how he looks, but Gumas just not the best, to be completely frank with you. So just use him in the early game and then move on. He is a grass type, just to let you know, but you have plenty of grass types, so nothing really too special there. Next, we're going to be moving on to another neutral base pal, Vixie. So Vixie has Gathering level 1, Farming level 1. Vixie is really, really underwhelming. Let me find Vixie here. Here we go. Vixie is really underwhelming, guys. Please just don't. Probably going to drop her right there in the bottom tier. The problem about Vixie is neutral base pal, nothing special elementally. Really bad in terms of gathering and farming. Nothing really crazy there. Both just level 1. Plenty of other pals have gathering, and plenty of other pals do farming better. So there's really no point to having Vixie. She does have the dig here trait, but that's honestly not great, guys. Not great at all. Nothing special here. The next one is actually really, I love the name of this one, Hudocles or Hodocles, which is, I think, like Socrates. I think they were going for like a smart owl Socrates type wordplay here. Really cool pal. I think visually, I think this pal is amazing. Excuse me. Yeah, so Hudocles, really kind of cool. Now, this is interesting because on the one hand, he's only got gathering level 1. So in terms of what he brings to your base, not really too great. And most of the fighting pals, guys, if you haven't noticed, we're going to be covering a little bit later in the video because a lot of the early game pals are mainly about building your base. We've already talked about who you should use for fighting in the early game, which is definitely going to be Foxpark, unless you're fighting like water types. But Hudocles, he is a dark type pal, which is kind of rare in the early game. You don't get too many of them. He can also gather, like by killing him, you can get fiber, you can get high grade technical manual. So he does have some utility. I'm going to put him in average. I think because of visual design, I want to put him in amazing. But when I look at what he can do for you at the base, it's really hard to justify. So I think he's going to be in pretty average, even though I really want to put him in amazing, especially visual design-wise, he is amazing. Next up, we have a water-based pal, the T-Font. T-Font, guys, my God. Let me find this before I talk about it, but I'm going to be honest, guys. There's not going to be too much to say in the positive on T-Font. Let me see. Okay, here we are, T-Font. T-Font is definitely, guys, one of those ones that is just going to be in the what's the point type pal. T-Font is kind of an underwhelming pal, 100%. You just get watering level 1, which you already are going to have by the time you find T-Font. It's a water element. There's plenty of water element, absolutely plenty of water element type pals in the game. Soothing Shower, nothing really amazing in terms of traits there. T-Font, visual design underwhelming, traits underwhelming. Fighting, you're not going to use this power for fighting, just not good. Probably, to be honest, guys, the more I think about it, I think T-Font deserves to be in the just please don't category. Now, here's an interesting pal, Depresso. So, like Espresso, but Depresso. Handiwork level 1, transporting level 1, mining level 1. Mining based pal, guys, quite useful. Caffeine inoculation, I believe that gives some stimulant to your other pals. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think it does. And it's a dark based pal. Dark, just like in Pokemon, is kind of useful in this game, guys. And so honestly, Depresso for being just level like number 17, something you're not going to find in the ultra late game, maybe not in the super early game. Depresso is actually kind of a cool base pal. Here he is. Depresso, I really like, and I want to put him in the amazing part of the tier list. I think just for what he brings about and how early this guy can be gotten, I definitely think Depresso is better than the average. So I can't put him in pretty average. I have to put him in amazing. And I think visual design wise, I really like this guy. So yeah, Depresso, quite good. Next, we go on to Quimus. Quimus, basically, you can kill them, get wool. They have gathering level 1, farming level 1, they're neutral, and their basically ability is fluffy wool. Really, Quimus, the only reason you're going to be getting this pal is to kill it for wool. I'm not a big fan of Quimus at all. I'm going to put Quimus in what's the point. I just don't think Quimus has much that it brings to the table, and I think there's a lot of pals that are a lot better. So let's move on from Quimus. Next, we go on to Daydream or Daydream. Quite cool pal. This is another dark type pal. Dream Chaser is its like unique ability. It's got handiwork level 1, transporting level 1, gathering level 1. You can also get venom glands and small power souls from this little guy. This is a decent early-ish pal. We've already talked about some of the other, to be honest, like dark level pals that you can get very early in the game. So Daydream, I can't really say is amazing. I would say what's the point? Because Daydream is kind of one of those ones that a little bit underwhelms me compared to the other darks, but isn't totally useless. So I won't put it in the please just don't category. Next up, we've got Rushboard. This is the first, I believe, ground-based pal that we get. Hardhead is its like unique ability, but it just has mining level 1. This is a problem, guys, because really, what's the point? Or just don't. I think Rush War is kind of underwhelming pretty much across the board. Just doesn't have enough traits to use it at your base. You're not going to be fighting with this, guys. It just doesn't make sense. So, really think Rush War very underwhelming. Next up, we go to Nox. Now, Nox is a really cool looking pal. In terms of its abilities and what it has, it is a dark type. So dark is, like I said, quite good. It does have gathering level 1. You can get small pal souls from this guy. Nox, visually, I really like Nox. The problem about Nox is it's just not that amazing when you get down to the brass tacks of should you be using this? The answer is probably no. So yeah, Nox. Where are you going to be at? You're going to be at what's the point? I just don't feel like Nox brings enough to the table, and you're probably going to capture one of these to just kind of complete your PAL deck, and that's about it. I don't think you're going to be capturing a bunch of Noxes. Yeah, not very impressed at all. Now, here's one of the first egg-based pals. So you're going to be getting an egg of this guy, and you can basically crack him open once you get the incubator, which is fairly early, guys. That's only like base level 6 or 7. You can get that incubator. You can break this dude out. I'm a huge fan of Fuddler. I think Fuddler is amazingly good. The reason Fuddler is so good, one of the best miners in the early game. Super good miner. And Fuddler has handiwork, transporting, and mining. You can get level from him, and he's also a ground type. Now, Fuddler, I've also used him in combat, and he's actually not that bad, guys. So Fuddler, decent in combat, one of the best miners in the early game. One of the coolest looking pals. I just really liked Fuddler being around my base. And yeah, so I really liked Fuddler. And I thought Fuddler was quite good. And I really liked him. And yeah, he does have the trait ore detecting. So there's some pretty nice things about Fuddler that make me think he's not bad, especially for the early game. Now we're going to be going on to Killamari or Killamara. This is a dark type, which as you see now we're starting to get more and more dark type. Transporting level 2, gathering level 1. So this is going to be one of the first ones you're going to find that has transporting level 2. Um, it's okay. I would say what's the point? Maybe average. I would say average. Just because it has transporting level 2, we're going to put it in the average tier. The issue being that I don't think Killamari is as good as a lot of other pals, and I'm just hesitant where to put it, but I'm going to put it in the pretty average tier. Yeah, it's not great. It's not terrible. It's just there. The next one is going to be Mal. So Mal is a really, really kind of cool looking pal. Probably one you're going to be having on your pal team in terms of battling. Yeah, so it's a dark type. It's got the gold digger trait. The problem about the base and my issue with Mal is it's not great, guys. It really, the base version only has farming level 1. That really, really hurts it, in my opinion. It's going to be in the pretty average tier. I do think visual design wise, I think Mao is good. You do have the Mao Quist or Assist variant, the cold variant. So the base is a dark, and then you have an ice based if you bleed into it. The ice is a little bit better because it has cooling level 1 and farming level 1 instead of just farming. So realistically, the ice variant is just simply better. So I'm going to put it a little bit higher. I think a lot of people are going to be getting this for the team, but honestly, just on paper, guys, it's not that great, and a lot of other pals outshine it. So it's really hard for me to like wholeheartedly recommend this pal. All right. We're going to be going on to PAL number 25, Sellaway. Now, this is a water type. We've got Zephyr Glider. We've got Transporting level 1, Watering level 1. Sellaway is actually kind of a cool PAL. I like Sellaway a lot, and I'm going to put Sellaway probably in the low amazing. So this is like very, very high, pretty average, and low amazing. I do like Sellaway. The thing is about it, you're not going to run into Celeray that early. And when you do run into Celeray, you're already going to have a lot of like bird type pals or pals that you can ride around the overworld. So Celeray is not one that I could put in the like S tier under any circumstances. But Celeray isn't a bad pal either. And I do like Celeray generally. Next up, we're going to go to another neutral base pal, the Die Howl. So you can actually ride this guy around, and you can ride this guy around pretty early, to be honest. So the Die Howl, it's a dire wolf, guys. It's here we are at Game of Thrones again. It's not bad. It is kind of fun to fight in the early game. The problem is it doesn't have too many great base stats, and I think Die Howl is one of those ones that you think like, oh my god, this is really, really cool when I first get it, and then it kind of you kind of drop off quite badly, and then you stop using the PAL as much as you used to, and that's kind of my experience with just Daiho in general. Still looking for its character model. There we go. Um, I am going to put Daiho in average. I do think it does deserve average because this is one of the first PALs you might be riding around with. But yeah, it's not that great. It's just moderate. Next up, Tuco. So this is a bird type pal, one of the best one of the best looking pals in the game. The problem is about this guy's he only really has one thing, which is egg bomb launcher. That's his only really unique thing. He only has gathering level 1. You can use this guy to get gunpowder and Tuco feathers, so he is good to farm. But in terms of actually what he brings to the table, basically a pal that looks really cool. Because he looks so cool, I'm going to put him in pretty average. But honestly, that's about it. You basically get the egg bomb launcher from this dude, and that's really it. Yeah, there's not much else to note on him or any real reason that you want to have him other than that. He is a neutral base pal too, by the way. Okay, next up we have Floppy, another grass base pal. Now Floppy is actually pretty damn useful, guys. Floppy is pretty useful, so we're gonna put Floppy in like low S tier. The reason is grass type isn't that amazing. You do get the helper bunny trait, But the big thing is planning level 1, handiwork level 1, medicine production level 1, transporting level 1, gathering level 1. And when you farm these guys, you get low grade medical supplies and wheat seeds. That's a lot, guys. That's a lot for one pal. In the early to mid game, Floppy is actually a really good one, both to farm for ingredients, but also to have in your base just as a general worker. Floppy is cool. I think character design is okay. I don't think it's like my favorite pal in the game, but just in terms of what it can do for you, it's really good. Floppy is not one of these ones that you're going to be wanting to use that much unless the pal that you're fighting has a glass-based weakness in terms of fighting, but definitely in terms of having your base, really, really good. Next up, we get our favorite cow-based pal, which is mozzarella, so like mozzarella cheese. I mean, it's obvious it's a cow, guys. Farming level 1, and you get mozzarella meat and milk. It's what's the point, guys? I mean, it's kind of cool to have these around your farm just to kind of have something, but that's about it, guys. I can't really recommend you getting too many of these because they just really lack what you need at the base. At your base, whenever you're having base pals, I would really recommend you have pals that have at least 3 to 4 things they can do, because it's really annoying when you put a pal in a certain area and then it just does that, but then it can't do anything else. So it really doesn't multitask very well. In this game, you do kind of, until you get to the end game and like production lines, you want pals that can multitask, and mozzarella is not that. Yeah, so not a huge fan of this pal in general. Next up, we have Blistula. Now, Blistula is a really, really cool looking pal. It's kind of like a little plant, like a little, I don't know what type of plant it would be, but it's really cool. Blistula is going in the S plus tier. The reason being it's a glass type. So you have planning level 1, handiwork level 1, medicine production level 2, guys. Transporting level 1, gathering level 1. You can farm these for wheat seeds and lettuce seeds. Kind of has it all in terms of a base pal. Obviously, you're not going to be using these to fight too much, but pretty nice pal, and I really do like Blistula. And I think Blistula is honestly a very, very good pal in a lot of ways. Next up, we have Gobfin at number 31, and he is a water type pal. He gives level 1 handiwork, level 1 transporting, level 2 watering. So you get that first level 2 watering that we have on our list. Not a bad little guy. Gobfin, pretty average. I'm going to put him in the average tier. I definitely don't think he's terrible. He's not amazing. I'm okay with Gobfin. Not incredible, not terrible. Okay, let's move on. We're going to be going on to 32 Hangyu. So this is definitely a Chinese-inspired pal, or either Chinese or it could be actually Korean-based pal. So got the Flying Trapeze special ability, ground-based pal, handiwork level 1, transporting level 2, guys, gathering level 1, and by farming him you get fiber. Fiber isn't anything really special. Hangyu, I'm kind of a little bit in between on Hangyu. There is a special variant of Hangyu as well. I'm going to put Hangyu in pretty average, and I think that's where both variants honestly belong. Neither of these are incredibly good. It's a ground-based pal. I believe it's variant. I'm not actually sure what the variant actually is, because I've never actually bred the variant before, but I know that it does exist. But yeah, Hangyu, I didn't use it very much. The only really thing that's nice about Hangyu is it's like moderate early game. I wouldn't say this is early, but moderate game or middle of the game, and you have transporting level 2, but that's about it. That's really about it. There's not really much else to say for this pal. Next up, we're going to have a really, really cool pal that comes in 2 variants, which is the Masarenda. The Masarenda is S plus tier. This is going to be a fighting pal, and his other variant, which is electric variant, Masarena. Both of these pals are super, super good, guys. Super, super good. So they actually have a special ability that's like Grenadier Panda, so they can like basically throw these like little grenades. Planning level 2, handiwork level 2, lumbering level 2, transporting level 3, and you farm these for mushroom level tomato seeds. Now it's going to be the mid game before you can really get to these, but look at the visual design. I really love them. I actually really love the lightning variant, which is like Mohawk. But guys, these are really good fighters, and they're really good in your base. these are kind of a do-it-all pal, and they absolutely deserve to be an S plus best pal tier. Um, really love these. Incredibly, incredibly good. Next up, we have Woolly Pop at number 34. This is a neutral-based pal, and it has farming level 1. You farm these for cotton candy and high-quality pal oil. So here's the thing about this. You really are only going to be farming this pal. That's it. You want that high-quality pal oil. You're going to farm this cotton candy. You're going to farm this. You're never going to have this around your base, guys. You're never going to be fighting with this. Please just don't. It's just a pal that unfortunately they didn't put enough into, and so it really underwhelms. Next up, we're going to be going to pal number 35, which is Capriti. Capriti. Let's find where Capriti is. Here we go. It's got planting level 2, farming level 1. You get Capriti meat, and red berries, and horn. Please just don't, guys. I mean, I guess you can say planting level 2 is useful, but there's plenty of other pals that you can use for farming. I don't think the Capriti looks that good visually. It kind of looks like a goat that they put a berry bush on top of. Yeah, there was a lot of problems with this pal. I just think it really underwhelms a little bit here. And yeah, I just don't think Capriti, it's just not good. And really it does deserve to be honestly in the please just don't category. Unfortunately, I think it just doesn't bring enough to the table. Next up, we have the Metapaca. So this is basically an alpaca variant. Like that's what they want. Now, Metapaca, you're going to be using for the paca wool. That's it. You're getting this for wool. That's all it does. What's the point? I kind of feel like they should have just had this for another pal. You're not really going to have too many of these other than just to farm them for the wool. You're never going to be fighting with this whatsoever. Yeah, I don't really like it. It is a neutral base pal. Not really too much to say, and probably best to just move on because I don't feel this pal has too much going for it. Next up, we are going to be looking at the Ifradir, which is number 37. There's two variants of the Ifradir, actually, but the second variant you're not going to see too often. This is the main variant of the Ifradir. And then this is the alt variant of the Ifradir. The Ifradir is really good. Now, here's the big thing about the Ifradir. This is one of the first pals. I wanted to say Pokemon again. This is one of the first pals that you're going to be realistically riding in the game, along with the Direwolf. Yeah, Ifradir is a really cool pal. It's actually not that bad to fight. And most of these you're going to be seeing in the overworld are like between level 9 and 12. Most of them I see around level 11. So you can get this in the medium early game. I wouldn't say super early, but definitely you can get this pretty quickly. And then you can craft a saddle and basically be riding around on these things quite quick to get you around the overworld. I like the Ifradir a lot. The reason that I wouldn't put the Ifradir into super high category, they do have lumbering level 2, which is really, really good. But that's about it. They got the Guardian of the Forest trait, but a lot of other pals have that as well. You're going to use this basically as a mount on the ground. But then again, what happens is you get flying mounts, guys. And as soon as you get flying mounts, Ifradir kind of goes out the door. So that's kind of what I have to say about Ifradir. And talking about flying mount, the next one we're going to be covering is the Nightwing. S plus tier. Nightwing is just too damn good. Nightwing is going to be the first pal that you're probably realistically going to fly around in the game. And once you get Nightwing, he's a Gavilar level 2, so he's not going to be doing that much around your base. You can only farm him for a level, so you're not going to be killing these in mass. You're going to be capturing a few of these, and then you're going to be flying around on this. And I love the Nightwing because once you get flying in the game, it's kind of like any MMORPG. Once you can fly, you're not realistically going to be going on the ground almost ever. I really do like the flying in this game. And Nightwing is one of the best early game ones. You can normally get these around like level 10 through 13. I believe most of these are like level 11 and 12 at the beginning of the game. I found a bunch of Nightwings. Once you can craft the saddle for them, you're going to be flying around, guys. Definitely S plus tier just because of that, because you're going to be using the Nightwing a lot. Next up, we have the Libany or Libany. It's a bunny, guys. It's a bunny. It's a neutral-based pal, and it has handiwork level 1, transporting level 1, gathering level 1. You can farm these for beautiful flowers. this is a what's the point pal. You're not going to be using the Liberty almost ever. Yeah, just not a big fan of it. And honestly, visual design also a little bit underwhelming in my personal opinion. I hate to say it, but Liberty not great. Next up, we have PAL number 40, which is the Incinerham or Incineram. This is a dual type, so this is one of the first dual types we have, which is a fire slash dark. Kindling level 1, handiwork level 1, transporting level 2, mining level 1. You can farm these for horns and levels. The Incineram is going to be a fighter in your team, guys. Now we're starting to get into some of the ones that you're going to actually be fighting with. Generally, that's kind of what happens is you kind of have early game pals that are mainly used to, level things up, and then you're going to be fighting with this. Out of the fighters, guys, I'm going to put him in pretty average because there's a lot of fighters that are better. You have the Fox Park for the early game. You really have a lot of pals that are a little bit better in terms of fighting, to be completely honest. Like these two guys right here, which were some of my favorites, and I always forget their name. But yeah, Incineram, I'm pretty average is where Incineram honestly deserves. Not great, not terrible. Cinemoth, a grass type pal, and it has planning level 2, medicine production level 1. So you can kind of see here we're transitioning into mid-game pals. Cinemoth, I'm not a big fan of Cinemoth at all. I think I captured like one Cinemoth and then I never used it. Please just don't. I just don't think it brings that much to the table. Planning level 2 is kind of nice. But yeah, this is kind of like a Butterfree type one from Pokemon they were trying, but it just didn't work out, guys. Yeah, not a big fan of it. And also, to be honest with you guys, I feel grass is kind of a particularly weak type because there's a lot of flame type pals in the game. So I'm not a big fan of grass in general, just because of this. So now we go up to Asrox or Arsox, which is a flame type pal. It's got kindling level 2, lumbering level 1. You can farm these for horns and flame organs, so quite useful in terms of that way. It You're not going to be using these like too much, so I'm going to put this in pretty average. I've captured a few of these. I played with a few of these. You can even use them to fight a little bit. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. It's just not amazing. That's it. It's just kind of in between, kind of a moderate type pal that isn't bad, isn't terrible. Next up, we have Dunamud. So this is a ground type pal. It improves the soul. Soul improve is what its trait is. It's got transporting level 1, watering level 1, mining level 2. You get actually quite a few of these for farming. So you get raw Dunamon and you get high quality power ore, and you will be needing that high quality power ore. Dunamud is kind of got some useful things because of that. And I'm going to put Dunamud in like low amazing. The problem about Dunamud, you're not going to be using him to fight, and it's mainly a farming type pal. It also kind of looks like a whale, so it's very strange that this is a ground type pal. But yeah, it's a minor, guys. That's pretty much what you're using Dunamud for, and to farm out that high quality pal oil. So not bad because of this, and it does have some things going for it, and I do kind of like its unique visual design. Next up, we're going to have Cognito, a very interesting sounding pal. This is a dark type pal. It's got its Telepec as its special ability. Lumbering level 1. You can farm these for bone, venom glands, and small pal souls. This is one of the, on paper, I feel one of the worst pals in the game. Yeah, Cognito or Cognito. It's got an interesting name, and that's it, guys. You won't be using this pal almost ever. I'm putting him in. Please just don't. I don't think most people are ever going to use this pal. And yeah, just a kind of bad pal, just in general, because there's plenty of darks at this point. Once we get in the mid game, there's tons of dark type pals and tons that do way better. Just like the next pal on the list, number 45, Lezapunk. So handiwork level 1, transporting level 1, gathering level 1. You can farm these for copper keys and silver keys, so you will be using these to farm. Lezapunk is kind of cool, I guess. I'm going to kind of put them at average. I don't think they're a bad pal at all, but neither are they incredibly good. So handiwork 1, transporting 1, gathering level 1. The issue being that most of the time, the time you're getting these, you're going to be getting them to farm to kill basically for the copper keys and silver keys. Handiwork one, transporting one, gathering one. You could have gotten these pals at the beginning of the game, and most of the time at this point, you're going to be looking for level 2 skills and going to be having a bigger base. So that really does hurt Lesapunk. Lupa Moon is the number 46 pal. It's another dark base pal, and it has handiwork level 2. So these are mainly for crafting items, of which they are quite useful. But it is a one trick pony, and that does kind of hurt it. I feel like anything that can only do one thing is kind of hurt by that. I'm going to put it in pretty average because I could see you using this just for making items, but that's about it on Lupa Moon. Next up, we have Gale Claw. Now, Gale Claw is a cool one. You can definitely fight with Gale Claw. It's a really cool bird look. It's a neutral, which having a neutral type power is actually not bad, guys, because you just don't have many vulnerabilities. And it's gathering level 2. So you can farm these for Gale Claw, Poultry, and level. So nothing really amazing to farm. I do really like the Gale Claw just in terms of its visual look. It's not incredible because gathering level 2 honestly is nothing that's like too earth shattering. The problem is by the time you find a Gale Claw, you're probably going to have other bird type pals to ride around on. So, you know, I'm gonna put it in pretty average. That's where I'm gonna put it because it can fight. It can fight. Robin Quill. Now this is an interesting one. Robin Quill, a glass type pal. It's got a special ability Hawkeye. Now listen to this: planning level 1, handiwork level 2, lumbering level 1, medicine level 1, production level 1, transporting level 2, gathering level 2. Farm these for wheat seeds and arrows. Robin Quill, absolutely an S plus tier pal. Just because of what he can do at the base, he is an amazing pal for building, for production at the base. Definitely deserve the S plus tier. Incredibly, incredibly good just because of that. One of the best base pals in the game. Yeah, I'm a huge, huge fan of the Robin Quill. Next up, we're going to have the Gorat. So the Gorat is a neutral based pal. You can get him a special passive as full powered gorilla mode. So this guy is more of a fighting pal, guys, to be completely honest. He does have handiwork level 1, lumbering level 2, and transporting level 3. So this is a really good pal in your base just specifically for transporting if you need to move a lot of goods from one place to another, like to boxes. I do think he's quite amazing just because he also is very good at fighting. So the Gorat is somebody that you will be using quite extensively. Yeah, and I am putting him in amazing here, and I do like the Gorat quite a bit. Now we're going on to the Bee Guard. The Bee Guard. So special passive Worker Bee. This is a glass type. It has planning level 1, handiwork level 1, lumbering level 1, medicine production level 1, transporting level 2, gathering level 1, farming level 1. The Bee Guard is a useful base power. And the big reason the Bee Guard is kind of useful, guys, is it just can do so much in your base. I love these pals that are multitaskers. They can do so many different things. So I think because of that, guys, I have to put the Bee Guard where it belongs, which is pretty high up there. I really, really do like the Bee Guard. So now let's move on to number 51, the Elzebie. Let's take a look at the Elzebie here. Number 51, a grass type pal. Queen Bee Command is its special ability. Now, it has planning level 2, handiwork level 2, lumbering level 1, medicine production level 2, gathering level 2. The Elzebie is good, guys. Right up here, probably an amazing, right above the Bee Guard. Most of these bee type pals are actually really good, especially for your base. I have also used this a little bit in fighting. Now, I wouldn't recommend this like a top tier fighter, but it ain't too bad. And for your base, it's amazing. I really do like the Elzebie. You can also farm these for the Elzebie staff and honey. So they do have some farming utility, although I wouldn't say amazing. But I do like the Elzebie quite a bit. The only big disadvantage with it being it is a glass type pal, just like Bee Guard, and I don't feel glass type is the best type overall. Next up, we're going to be looking at the Glintail. Uh, very, very, very weird looking pal. I feel there was some copy pasta from Pokemon here. I know there was a Pokemon, I forget its name, uh, that I want to say like Gengar. I want to say it was Gengar that looked like this pal. Now, this pal is creepy, creepy AF, guys. It looks really, really creepy. I do not like this pal. It only has gathering level 2. You can farm these for high quality pal oil. That's the only reason you would be getting it. You're going to capture one of these for your pal deck and then probably never use it again. So realistically, where should I put it? What's the point? I would say because if it's high quality power, I'm not going to do just please don't, but it's not a great power and I do not like it. And I also think its visual design is weak. The next up we're going to be looking at is Sui at number 53. Now, this is an ice-based power. It's got Fluffy as its special ability. It does gathering level 1, cooling level 1, and you can farm these full world. Now, Sui and Sui Pa, which is kind of its bigger variant, yeah, neither of these are too good, guys. So I'm gonna cover these kind of together. So Sui, I would put in what's the point, or actually, please just don't. Let's put Sui in, please just don't, and then Sweepa number 54 in what's the point. So these guys, the only really thing you're going to be getting them for is the wool. The Sweepa, the bigger variant, does have gathering level 2 and cooling level 2, where the just base Sui only has gathering level 1 and cooling level 1. I guess they're okay for cooling things down. That's about it, guys. Definitely get Sweet Pa. Don't get Sweet because Sweet is just a worse variant of Sweet Pa. This is one of those stupid ones, guys. Since there was no evolutions in the game, you can tell Sweet Pa is kind of what you were supposed to be going for. But even then, not that great, guys. So just probably avoid Sweet and Sweet Pa. So next up, we have Chillet. So this is an ice/dragon, so another dual type. Dual types in this game are good, guys. Generally, dual types are better than the only one type, kind of like in Pokemon. So Chillet, it's an ice/dragon. It's got a special ability as Wiggling Weasel. It has gathering level 1 and cooling level 1. So you kind of already see that this is better than Sweeper because it's a dual type. You can farm these for leather. The only problem about Chillet is that it's not really got like an amazing thing going on in terms of you're not probably going to be fighting with these guys too often. So yeah, I'm going to put Chillet in pretty average. I think that's fair for Chillet. I don't think he's amazing. I don't think he's terrible. But yeah, Chillet, pretty average. Nothing exceptional, nothing terrible. Next up, we have number 56, which is an electric type. Swift Deity is its special ability, and it has lumbering level 1, generating electricity level 2. You can farm these for electric organs, levels, and horns. Univolt is a really cool looking pal. I wish I could say that I feel Univolts are better, but I just don't. I will put them in pretty average. I do think there's a lot of pals that fight better. It looks really cool. Visual design, I would put in S plus or at least amazing. But in terms of performance and in terms of what it can do around your base or fighting, I just don't really think it's that good, to be completely honest with you. Next up, we have Pyron, which is a fire type. Its special ability is Red Hair, and it has Kindling level 2, Lumbering level 1. You can farm these for flame organs and lever and flame organs. The thing about Pyron is that by the time you're going to be seeing these guys, because you're not going to be seeing them in the early game, by the time you can see these guys, you're no longer going to really be these skills don't really matter to you. I do think again it's kind of like the Univolt that it's like quite cool looking. Yeah, so this one, and let's see here. Give me 1 second. Yes, the Foxicle and the Pyron. Yeah, so these guys, kind of the Pyron here and the Foxicle, are kind of two of very similar things. So I'm going to put both of these, the Foxicle, which is number 57, and the Pyron, which is number 58. I'm going to put them both in pretty average. The reason being is I feel this is copy pasta, guys. The Univolt, the Pyron, and the Foxicle. That's it, Foxicle, guys. Guys, these are reskins of the same pal. That's the realistic fact of it. I mean, you can kind of see the Univolt, the Foxicle, and the Pyron. They're all one type of pal, and none of them are that exceptional. But they are average. They're not terrible. So, you know, it's not bad. It's not great. Next up, we're going on to number 60, which is an electric type, the Ray Hound. Very cool. Now, this is the first one that will get you generating electricity level 2. You can farm these for electric organs. at this point, by the time you actually find the right hound, generating electricity kind of becomes a little bit more important. So because of that, I'm going to put it up into the. I fought with this too, and it's not bad. So I'm going to put it in low amazing. And I really mean that low amazing. This is like very high, pretty average, low amazing. The problem is it is a one trick pony. So, really I could put it at the very top of pretty average, and that would probably be fair. So it's either at the very top of pretty average or low amazing. Um, like I said, by the time you can get generating electricity level 2 pals, generally those pals actually are more important. But there are better electric pals in the game, and so I can't really put it up there too high. Now we're gonna be getting up to Dazzy, which is a level 60, number 62 pal. That's electric type, very much like Wayhound. Lady of Lightning. Now you can get this from an egg fairly early in the game. Handiwork level 1, transporting level 1, generating electricity level 1. For your early electric needs, if you have them, which they're not going to be that many, but if you do have them, Dazzy is probably your go-to. I kind of like Dazzy's visual design too. It's very unique. Definitely not a pal that copied Pokemon too much. I really do like this. Dazzy, I'm going to put in a low amazing because I do think you could use her as electric type in the early game. I've also fought with her. She's not terrible. I'm not going to lie. She's not amazing. But you're going to be getting her early, much earlier than some of these others. Because of that, I think Dazzy does deserve that little bit of a bump into low, pretty amazing. But really very high average, very similar to Wayhound, and kind of fulfills a similar function to Wayhound, just a lot earlier in the game. Now we have uh, some of the pals that are getting good, guys. We are getting into some of the really good ones now. Lunaris. So this is number 63, a neutral base pal. It has as a special ability anti-gravity. And we're not going to be talking about special abilities too much here. I'm just listing them. I'm going to be doing another video talking about what I think the best special abilities are. Handiwork level 3, transporting level 1, gathering level 1. This is one of the best crafters in the game, Lunaris. Lunaris is a incredible crafter. Lunaris icon. Here we go. So yeah, I'm gonna put Lunaris easily in the S plus best pal tier. I do think Lunaris deserves it. You're starting to get pals that are really good. Lunaris can be used to fight too, but mainly what you're going to be using them for is putting them in the base because they have handiwork level 3. Eventually, you're going to need to be crafting as the game goes on. You're going to need to be crafting large amounts of ingredients, large amounts of goods, and Lunaris is one of the best at doing so. So I do think Lunaris does deserve a top spot just because of that, that they are one of the best crafters in the game. So guys, before we move on to 64, I have something really important to share with you, and that is the sponsor for this video, the Into the AM partner t-shirts. So I am partnered with Into the AM. They make a large variety of graphic and basic tees. Right now they have a deal going on where you can get 3 beautiful graphic tees for $61.95. I will tell you guys, I've used these. I've washed these in the washer 20, 30 times. They hold up extremely well. They're extremely comfortable. They're what I'm wearing in a lot of my actual videos. And yeah, it really helps support the channel by using my code Let's Gear Up, which I'm going to have down in the video description. You'll get 10% off site-wide. I would really recommend you get at least one set of these. They're incredibly comfortable for your gaming needs, but they can also be used when you're going outdoors, when you're actually just going around town. I've had a lot of compliments on them, and I really find them to be super comfortable and very high quality. This is a company that's been around the block and that I'm really proud to be sponsored by. So please help the channel out. These videos take an incredibly long time to make, and click down in the video description and get your own t-shirts. Thanks again, guys, and let's get back into the video. So now we are on, guys, to number 64, which is Dinosaur. So this is a grass/dragon. Again, like I said, I feel like dual types are just inherently better than monotypes. The passive special ability is Fragrant Dragon. You can get wheat seeds by farming this, and you have planting level 2 and lumbering level 2. Now, Dinosaur is kind of an interesting one because it has planning and lumbering and the both at level 2. I do think it's probably in the pretty high part of pretty average. The only problem is it's not that great at fighting. Personally, I don't believe it's super great for fighting, and it doesn't have that many things it can do. It is really good at planning. It is good at lumbering, but that's it. It's not really good at anything else, and it doesn't have that much variety into what it can do. So Dinosaur, not bad, not amazing. You're probably not going to be farming this. It's mainly going to be in your base just for lumbering and farming, but you're not going to get it just for the wheat seeds. That's for sure, guys. But not terrible, not bad. Next up, we have number 65. This is a water type pal. Swift Swimmer is its special passive ability, and it has watering level 2, and that is Surferent. So Surferent, guys, Surferent's not very good. I'm going to be honest. Please just don't. The problem about this is really all you're going to be using this, like, there's just not much Surferent's going to do for you. Watering level 2, you have plenty of other pals that can water, guys. It's just not amazing, to be honest with you. I didn't use this much in the game, and yeah, I captured maybe 2 of these and just ended up not using them very often. So Surferent, I'm just not a huge fan of in general. Number 66, guys, which is going to be Merath or Merath. This is a dark-based pal. This is a really interesting looking pal, and probably one of the ones that breaks the most from the like Pokemon aesthetic. It's really cool looking. I think visual design, it would be 100% in the amazing tier. And you know what? I mean, gathering level 2, mining level 1, you get small pal souls, you get bones from this. There's not that much to recommend it in terms of actually having at your base. I do use this for fighting, and it is kind of cool. And I think just for visual design alone, since it's one of the most unique pals in the entire game, I'm going to put it in the amazing category, but I am going to put it at the bottom of amazing. Not the best pal in the game, 100%, but special ability Messenger of Death. It's just a really cool pal, and they really knocked it out of the park in terms of its design. Now, here's a really throwback one. This one's called, number 67 is called Digitos. This looks like Blastos, like basically back in Pokemon Blue. This is really like a Squirtle evolution, really is what it is. So Digitos, it's a ground-based instead of water-based. So its special ability is Drill Crusher, and it's got mining level 3. So you're mainly getting this, guys, for mining. That's really what you're going to be using this for. You're not going to be probably carrying it around, fighting with it. You're going to be using it for mining, but mining is very useful, guys, and I'm going to be putting it in low tier amazing because this is mining level 3, guys. So this is high quality, high tier mining. You can kill these for high quality pal oil and ore. Mainly, you're going to be killing them for that high quality pal oil. But Digitos, just because of the mining, I'm going to put it in low amazing. We are getting to the rarer type pals here, and these are going to be deep in the game. But yeah, Digitos is quite good, and I do think what it brings is quite nice, but it is a one-trick pony. You have to understand that, and I can't give them much props in terms of the art design because I do think they just copy-pasted on this one pretty hard. Next up, 68. This is a dark-type Tombat. So its special ability is Ultrasonic Sensor. You can get small pal souls and level from it, so you're not really going to be farming this because it's not bringing too much unique. In terms of base, it's not bad. You got transporting level 2, gathering level 2, mining level 2. So again, guys, we're starting to get deep in the list. This is number 68, and you're going to start getting pals that just are better because these are the like late game pals. So Tombat, not bad at all. It does actually bring a significant amount to your base building. I wouldn't say that you're probably realistically ever going to be, you're probably not going to be using this for fighting, to be honest with you. But it's cool. It's cool. I think the visual design is kind of cool. So Tombat, I'm going to put him in pretty average because I feel like by the time you get this far in the game, there's other pals that are just simply way better than Tombat. Okay, so one of people's favorites, it's a neutral type pal, number 69, Lovelander. Guys, this is, there's no question in my mind this is an S tier pal. No question in my mind, 100% it's an S tier pal. You got the special ability Heart Drain. Now listen to this, Handiwork level 2, Medicine Production level 2, Transportation level 2, Mining level 1. It can do, not everything, but it can do a lot, guys, and a lot of it at level 2. You can farm these for mushrooms, cakes, suspicious juice, strange juice. So it actually has some very unique drops as well. Um, Love Lander, just in terms of visual design, one of the coolest. You know, they put it at 69. That's very funny. They kind of put a little adult meta joke there. Definitely one of the best pals in the game. Love Lander is super strong, and I really like it. We are going to be going now to Flame Bell. Now, Flame Bell is honestly a really cool looking pal. It's one of the smallest pals in the game. Like, Flame Bell is really, really, really small. You get a special ability, Magma Tears. This is just a monotype fire. You can farm it for flame oil, flame organs, and high quality pal oils. And it has kindling level 1, handiwork level 1, transporting level 1, farming level 1. For cuteness, I'm going to put it in the low tier of amazing. I would say stats wise, it probably deserves pretty average. Now, the problem about Flame Bell, you're probably not going to be using this for fighting. I do think the visual design is kind of like fires over a chicken head. It looks really cute, guys. I like having these around my base just for the visual impact, and I do think they look really good. But you know, I do admit they're probably not the best on paper. Low amazing, high pretty average is where it deserves to be. Number 71, Van Worm. So this is a dual type, a fire slash dark. Now, fire slash dark, guys, just to put a little bit of asterisk on this, I think is one of the best double types in the game. I think fire is one of the best monotypes as well as dark. And so fire dark is a great, absolutely fantastic dual class. This one has a special ability, Aerial Marauder. Again, guys, I'm not going into special abilities in this video because it would get way too long, but we're going to be covering all those in another video, so definitely hit that subscribe and follow me and hit the like on this video. However, what does it actually bring in terms of to your base? Kindling level 1, transportation level 3. You can kill these for golden coins and rubies, as well as bones, but that's pretty much nothing special. But rubies kind of special, golden coins not too many have that drop. Yep. So Van Worm is pretty interesting. You can also use this for fighting. I've used this not, I would say, extensively, but not, you know, just once or twice. Yeah, Van Worm is kind of got some things going on that I think it does deserve to be pretty up there. So yeah, Van Worm probably pretty high in the amazing tier. I wouldn't say he's like the best of the best, but I would say Van Worm is pretty damn good, especially because of that dual type. I do think that kind of pushes it a little bit higher than a lot of other pals, and its dual type is very good. The now this is a pretty much straight up beast. Bushi is crazy. He's a fire type, which, like I said, is one of the best monotypes in the game. I don't know what they were thinking with the Bushi because they just made a pal that's like disgustingly good. He will absolutely 100% be in the S plus tier without any question. So he's got the Brandish Blade as his special ability, Kindling level 2, Handiwork level 1, Lumbering level 3, Transportation level 2, Cavering level 1. You can farm these for bone and ingots. You're going to be capturing these guys. You're not going to be farming them ever. Bushi's incredible. They're also really good to fight, as they kind of sound. It's kind of like a samurai-based class. Not easy to capture these guys. 100% not easy to capture, but very, very effective. I would highly recommend you get the Bushi. One of my favorite pals in the game. Incredibly good. Number 72, the Bushi. Now we're going to be moving on to number 73, an electric base pal, the Beacon. The Beacon is kind of disappointing. I mean, we went from the Bushi, which is like incredibly good, to the Beacon. This is kind of an electric base variant of a lot of other flying base pals. Transportation level 3, that is very, very nice. Generating electricity level 2, gathering level 1, and special ability is Thunderous. The issue being with this one, I mean, really, you're just doing it for transportation, and it's getting in the late game. Now, because it's transportation level 3, I cannot put this in the average tier. But when you get this power, when you're actually able to capture this power, it's going to be fairly late in the game. So that will hurt it. The Ragnar Hawk instead of Ragnarok, Ragnar Hawk is very similar. It has kindling level 3 and transportation level 3. To be honest, number 73 and number 74 are almost just reskins of each other. If you look at the Beacon and the Ragnarok, the Ragnarok being a fire type, where the Beacon is an electric type. and the Ragnarok having kindling level 3 and transportation level 3 versus transportation level 3, generating electricity level 2, and gathering level 1. So I think Ragnarok, honestly, is a little bit better, and I'm only putting it a little bit above. But they both have some reasons you would get them. Uh, Now we're going on to level number 75, a dark type Catras. Now Catras is a cool looking pal. Absolutely cool looking pal. So yeah, so it has the Grimoire Collector. So it does handiwork level 2, medicine production level 2, transportation level 2. So I would say like a moderate in terms of what it brings to your base. You can farm these though, guys. So you get leather, Catras hair, and high grade technical manuals, and you do want those technical manuals. The Catras isn't bad. It's not something that I would say is like the best PAL in the game by any measure. But I don't mind the Catras. I would say it's probably somewhere in the mediumly high, pretty average tier, is what I would say. Next up, we get to number 76, the Wixen. So it's a fire-based type. Its special ability is Loud Fox. You're getting some really high-level abilities here, guys. Kindling level 2, Handiwork level 3, Transportation level 2. So because it does handiwork at level 3 and transportation at level 2, really good. Again, this is a very good one to farm. You get those high-grade technical manuals along with flame organs. The Wixen, it's basically like a flame wizard kind of looking pal. I would say is low tier amazing. I do like it a lot. Almost all of these later pals, because of the rarity, they're good, guys. They're good. As we're going to see with the Photo Dash. So this is number 77. It's a grass type. I've already talked about grass type. Not sinking grass is the best. Grassland Speedster, so it can move around very, very quick. This is a base pal, guys. You're not going to be using this for fighting very much. The Wixen, by the way, you could use for fighting, but this Photo Dash, not the best fighter, but you're going to be using it in your base. It's got planning level 2, handiwork level 3, lumbering level 2, transportation level 2, gathering level 3, guys. So you get 2 level 3 skills and you get 3 more level 2 skills. The Photo Dash is one of the best base pals in the game, and I'm going to be putting it up there. It's really, really solid. I think it definitely deserves to be in the S plus tier as one of the best pals in the game. Honestly, at this point, you're getting a lot of really incredible pals, but, Photo Dash, even for the middle to late game, very, very, very good. Now we're getting number 78, Valet. So Purification of Gaia is its special skill. Planning level 2, Handiwork level 2, Medicine Production level 3, Transportation level 1, Gathering level 2. Low-grade medical supplies and tomato seeds are what you're going to get if you farm this guy. So what you're getting Valet for is really the Medicine Production level 3, which is kind of a rare trait, guys. Valet... It's interesting, guys, because that's really it is kind of a one-trick pony. I'm not gonna lie to you about that. I would say high, pretty average. The problem about Valet is, even though I do like the medicine level 3 quite a bit, by the time you get Valet, by the time you can actually capture Valet, there's a lot of incredible pals you're going to be getting, and so it's kind of hard to recommend Valet as much as some of the others that we've talked about recently. All right, we have number 79, an ice-based pal, and this is going to be Sibylix. So this is a silk maker. It's kind of cool. It's kind of like a silkworm, kind of weird type pal. Yeah, so medicine production level 2, cooling level 2, farming level 1. Sibylix, very cool visual design. The only problem about Sibylix is, in terms of what it can do, it's pretty average. So I'm going to put it low and pretty average because, honestly, by the time you're capturing Sibylix, you're kind of not going to be using it for your base. It is very cool visual design, so I'll give them a lot of props for that. But it can't really compete with the best pals or even the amazing tier. So now we're going to be going on to number 80. So this is Epiphan. Epiphan is an interesting looking pal. 2 variants of Epiphan. There's a dragon level Epiphan and then a water dragon dual type. So yeah, Epiphan here is the base, I believe. Yeah, there's base Epiphan and there's the water/dragon type Epiphan. The Epiphan, Amicable Holy Dragon, It's a dragon type, guys. They're kind of rare on the game. There's not that many dragons. Lumbering level 2, so you're not going to be using Epiphan, honestly, for your base, but you're going to be using Epiphan for fighting, specifically if you can bleed the water/dragon type. I think that dual type is really, really good, and I do like that a lot. You can also farm these for high-quality power, which is definitely something you're going to be needing in the game. Yeah, quite good, and I do like Epiphan quite a bit. Specifically the variant that is the water/dragon, not the base Epiphan. So Kepsley, this is number 81, so it's a water type. It has the passive ability Aqua Sprout. So yeah, it does watering level 1. Kepsley is just straight up dog trash, guys. I mean, I don't even know what they were thinking with this one. This one just didn't bring enough to the table. So he does come in a variant. There's a fire variant of Kepsley. You don't want any of these guys. What's the point? I'm not going to put them in the very bottom because this is one that you can get kind of like moderately early. But Kepsley, other than the cool look of the kind of like a seal, there's no reason you would have this, to be honest. And yeah, I just don't think there's many reasons you wouldn't use this for fighting. You wouldn't use this in your base. Yeah, you just wouldn't use this very much. On to number 82, Azalub. Now, Azalub is interesting. Azalub is interesting. The reason Azalub is kind of interesting, guys, is because he is a water/dragon type. So it's a very good, very, very, very good dual type. Water Wing Dance is his special ability, and he has watering level 3. So he's one of the best waterers in the game. Because of all these things, I think it's very, very hard for me to not put Azalub in at minimum of at least an amazing. And that's where I'm going to be putting him. Sorry, there was like a visual bug here. But yeah, Azalub, amazing. I do like that. Dual water dragon type. Really good in terms of he has watering level 3, which is kind of rare. Also can fight, so has some good things going on there. Not best pals, absolutely, but Azalub's got it going on. He's got some things going for him. Cryo Lynx, number 83, Ice type, Dragon Hunter special passive ability, Handiwork level 1, Lumbering level 2, Cooling level 3. Little bit of everything here. You can farm these guys for ice organs. Cryo Lynx, God, I'm a little bit debating where I want to put Cryolinks here. I probably want to put him as low, pretty average. I don't think Cryolinks is like anything special whatsoever once you get him in the game. But not bad. Not terrible. Next up, we have Blaze Howl. This is number 84, a fire-based type. Hellflame Line is his special passive ability. He has Kindling level 3, Lumbering level 2, Flame Organ. Blaze Howl is a great fighter, guys. I do use Blaze Howl a lot, and I do like Blaze Howl. So yeah, Blaze Howl, and I believe he has a variant. Yeah, so there's 2 Blaze Howl variants, and they're both good. So I'm going to be putting them both into the amazing tier. I do use Blaze Howl quite often for fighting. Again, Kindling level 3, Lumbering level 2, and he does have a variant. Blaze Howl is good. You're not going to be really farming this, guys, because you're only getting flame organs, but Blaze Howl's very, very nice. Next up, number 85, Relaxus. So it's basically a dragon relax type pal. Definitely a kind of an interesting naming scheme they got going on for this dude, and not too bad. So he's a dragon water dual type. Dragon water, like I said, guys, dual types in the game, very good. Now, you do have 2 variants of him. I believe there's an electric variant as well. So that's cool. I will put him in low amazing tier because I do think any type you have a dual type, especially dragon dual, very good. Transporting level 1, watering level 2, and you can kill these for high quality pal orals and rubies. The only problem about putting them any higher than this is just they don't have enough base building stats for me to justify it. But you can fight with these. You absolutely can fight with these. Blanca Cherry. So this is a glass type. It has the special ability Over Affectionate. Planning level 3. So this is basically a planning only base building type pal. So yeah, you have the Blanca Cherry and you do have its variant. You see there's a lot of variants. I'm gonna put it in pretty average, but honestly, if planning, like if you have a really big base, you definitely want one of these because the planning is really, really good. But that's about it. The problem is this pal is completely surpassed by the next pal on the list, which I'm going to be talking about here in a minute. But yeah, Bronco Cherry is not terrible. It just does a lot of pals that are just simply better. And one of the pals that is better is number 87, Paltella. So it's a grass type. It does Blessing of the Flower Spirit as its special abilities. You can farm these for beautiful flowers, but the real thing that it has, so it has Planning level 3, Handiwork level 2, Medicine Production level 2, Transportation level 1, Gathering level 2. So, guys, just in terms of what it can do for your base, Plautella is just disgustingly good. Plautella, it's definitely a small base power. You're not going to be using these guys to fight Whisperly, but you absolutely will be using these in your base, and I will put Paltella in S plus tier. I only use these in my base, but planning level 3, they basically have everything that's good about Broncocherry, but just a lot more because you have that handiwork level 2, the medicine production, the transportation, the gathering. Incredibly good pal. One of the best base building pals in the game. Really like it. So now we have number 88, which is Reptityro. Reptityro is interesting. Now we're getting into the boss type pals and really late in the tier list. Both of these, so there's two variants. There's like a fire and then there's like an ice variant. They're both fairly moderate, to be honest with you. So they have kindling and mining level 3. So these are what you're going to be using these for. And their special ability is Ore Loving Beast. You can farm these for Flame Organ, which you're never going to do because really you can get Flame Organs just 1,000 of them at this point. You can use these for mining, so it's hard for me not to put them into like low amazing, but the issue being is that they are kind of one-trick ponies. You're going to be using these for mining. The Reptityros, you're absolutely going to be using them for mining. And if I didn't mention it, they are a fire/ground. So being a dual type, I'll give them a little leeway with the Reptityros and put them in low tier amazing. Next up, number 89, which is the King Paca, a really cool looking alpaca with a crown, but it sucks, guys. It's a neutral type pal. King of Muscles is its special ability, and it's gathering level 1. Guys, very cool looking pal, but just doesn't bring enough to it and its variant. It actually has a variant as well. I mean, King of Muscles, that's really all you're getting it for. It kind of sucks. It looks cool. I wish it was better. We're going to move on from King Paca because King Paca is just not that great. Next up, Mammorest. You're going to see Mammorest like literally at the start of the game. This is the first like boss style pal that you're going to see right away. And normally these are in your mid-level 30s. So this is it takes a while to get these guys. But the Mammorest are really good. Now, what you can do is you can wait until 2 Mammorest fight each other and then try to capture one. It will down level them. They are useful, guys. They're useful. I'm going to put both of the Mammorest variants in amazing. So you get planning level 2, lumbering level 2, mining level 2. If you can get this fairly early, like before level 20, I definitely think this is worth it. Its special ability is Gaia Crusher. These are also really good in fighting. So because of these, I can't really put them underneath amazing. Personally, visually, the visual design is not something I personally prefer, but I do think it has a lot going for it. So the next one we're going to be looking at is number 91, guys. So we're getting up there, which is Wumpo. And Wumpo has two variants. So you have like the ice variant, and then you have the grass variant of Wumpos. Wumpo ice base for the normal variant, and then there's a glass variant. Guardian of the Snowy Mountain. Handiwork level 2, lumbering level 3, transportation level 4, cooling level 2. And you can farm these for ice organs and beautiful flowers. Guys, you're going to be getting these only in the late game, but they're good. They're really good. They're just the base stats around base. It has to make me put Wumpo in the S+, the best pal tier list. I think that's the only place they can go because they have some level 4 skills, and even though they are late game pals, they are worth it. They are absolutely worth capturing. Next up, we're going to be looking at Number 92, Warsect. So Warsect is a really cool looking pal. There's definitely, I don't give them points here for visual design because there's definitely a pal in Pokemon that looks exactly like this. Planning level 1, handiwork level 1, lumbering level 3, transportation level 3. So mainly it's a transportation based Pokemon. Or I should say pal, not Pokemon, but let's be honest, guys. This was a straight up copy from Pokemon. I forget the Pokemon that this was copied from, but somebody will put it down in the comments, guys. This was a copy pasta. Warsect. It's a ground slash grass, so it's a dual type, and its special passive is hard armor. You can farm these for honey. You're not going to be doing so because that's stupid. There's plenty of other pals that have honey. But yeah, Warsects aren't bad. They're just not amazing. They can be used for fighting, and they are pretty effective in fighting. But when you get to this point in the game, you're going to have some amazing pals. So probably not going to be using it strictly for fighting. Next up, the Finnelope, which is number 93. It's a neutral type, special passive wind and clouds, and it's lumbering 2. You can farm these for level and horn. Finnelope, guys, Finnelope is really underwhelming at this point in the pal list. Like, once you get to this point, so we're already in the 90s here, the Finnelope, it's a neutral type. I guess I don't even know if that's really going for it because I would say actually having a dual type is better at this point. It's pretty average, I would say. Maybe even what's the point? Like, I kind of want to put it in the what's the point category. I don't really like the Finnelope too much. The Feybat. So this is a dark. This is number 94. So its special passive is Lifesteal, and it does medicine production at level 3. At this point, I would never recommend you getting something that can only do one skill, to be completely honest. What's the point? I mean, medicine production level 3 is good, but honestly, at this point in the game, I would never recommend you getting just a single base production. I'd never use this for fighting. It does drop cloth and small pal souls, but come on, guys, you're not going to be doing it for that. You're not going to be farming these up. So Feybat will definitely underwhelming. Next up, number 95, a dragon type, Quivon. So this one has Sky Dragon's Affection as its special skill, and it has Handiwork number 1, Transportation level 3, Gathering level 2, Mining level 2, and it does farm out for high quality pal ore. Quivons are actually kind of useful. They're a very pretty power. I really like the visual design. They can do quite a bit in your base, and I'm going to put it in low tier amazing because I do think Quivons are better, absolutely better than average. And yeah, I like them quite a bit. Next up, we have Blazamut. Now, this is a Final Fantasy inspired pal. A Final Fantasy inspired Pokemon looking pal. I'll say it that way. Yep. Blazamut is good. It is a fire based pal. It is number 96. Its special ability is Magma Kaiser. Really good for fighting. This is a fighting based pal, guys. You can farm these for coals and flame organs, which you're not going to do. Kindling level 3 and mining level 4. So because it mines so well and it's also an amazing fighter, yeah, Blazamut is really high up there, guys. I'm going to put him in S plus tier. Definitely one of the best fighting types. Like, you probably one of the best flame types in the game. So you want to have this on your team in the late game for anybody that's weak to fire, basically. Now we goes to number 98. Amazing dual type dragon, Dark Azagon. Black Anasaur is its special passive. Handiwork level 1, mining level 4. This is an incredible miner, but you're going to be mainly using this for fighting. Azagon is a great fighter. It does power metal, ingots, and pure quartz, so it farms out for really rare stuff. This is going to be an S plus tier pal. Absolutely S plus tier pal. Azagon, too much, guys. Dragon, Dark, dual type, amazing fighting, level 4 mining. He's just got too much to not put him in some of the best pals in the game. So he definitely deserves to be in the S plus tier, the best pals in the game. We're now going on to Ministating. So number 99, this is a dark slash ground, another dual type, which is, I'm a huge fan of dual types. Steel Scorpion is his special ability. He has got lumbering level 2, mining level 3. It's not bad. Metastating is not terrible. You can farm these for coals and venom glands. I'm going to put him in pretty average, honestly, for such a late, kind of like late tier pal. He's a little bit underwhelming, and I don't think metastating is very good, especially compared to the pal that follows, which is number 100, guys. One of the most OP, incredible pals in the game. We're going to be putting this right up here in the very top of S plus tier. Anubis. Anubis is disgusting. He can basically teleport around the battlefield. You're going to be using this for fighting, guys. One of the best fighting pals in the game. Ground-based pal, Guardian of the Deserts, its special passive ability. Handiwork level 4, Transportation level 2, Mining level 3. So, guys, this is one of the best crafters in the game. One of the best fighters in the game. You can get large pal souls from this, innovative technical manuals from this. So it's worth farming. It's worth having in your base. It's worth having in your fighting team. Anubis is just kind of the total package, and there's a lot of reasons why you could say Anubis could be one of the best overall pals in the game. I definitely think he's one of the top 5. Kadava is really good because you're getting it so early, but Anubis, I've heard people cheesing him like under level 30, and Anubis is really, really disgusting and super, super good. Super, super, super good. So now we're going on to Jormatide, which is number 101. It's a dragon slash water. There is 2 variants. I believe one's dragon water, one's dragon fire. Stormbringer Sea Dragon is its special ability. It does watering level 4, and I believe the other one is kindling level 4 on the fire variant. Jumatide, we're going to put it in amazing. I mean, this is like Galgaros or Gilaros back in Pokemon. There's a Pokemon that's literally almost a copy paste of this. So I can't really give them much props in terms of visual design. But Jumatide is really good. You could farm this, but it just gives you power fluids, so very stupid to do. It does give you that level 4 watering ability, and I believe the kindling ability on the fire variant. And it is a cool dual type, so this can be used for fighting. And yeah, Jumatide is amazing. It's pretty dang good. Next up, Sakura. This is number 102. Fire, so a Japanese-inspired pal. Wings of Flame is its special ability. Sorry, guys, my throat's getting dry. It's been like 2 hours now. Kindling level 3 is is not a special ability, but it's actual base ability. Sakura, even though it looks really, really cool, is a very, very underwhelming pal, especially for being this rare. I'm going to put him in What's the Point. Would not recommend at all. I do believe there's actually like an ice variant of Sakura as well. And yeah, just not there, guys. Just not there. Next up, Glizzbolt. Glizzbolt is Glizzbolt's one of the best pals in the game, guys. You're going to be getting this guy. He basically can have a machine gun that you can ride around as a pal skill. Glizzbolt is one of those ones that as soon as you get him, he will always be in your fighting party, pretty much 100% of the time. Glizzbolt is just super, super, super good, and I like him. And like the Bushi, just really good. Like Anubis, incredible. Yeah, Glizzbolt, electric type, handiwork 2, lumbering 2, transportation free, generating electricity free. You can farm these for electric organs and level, but you'll never, ever, 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 ever do that. Yeah, special ability, yellow tank. Incredible, incredible, incredible pal. Glizzbolt definitely deserves to be an S plus tier. So we're getting into the last pals of the game. Lying at number 104. This is a grass-based pal. Harvest Goddess is its ability. Planning level 4, Handiwork level 3, Gathering level 2, Medicine Production level 3. Lying is definitely one of those like super, super, super in-game pals that is used mainly for farming. It is an amazing pal for being at your base. Whenever you get into these like ultra rare, very, very good pals, they're going to have something good going on. They are amazing. It is hard to find these lions. You can farm these for low-grade medicine, beautiful flowers, innovative technical manuals. Probably not going to be farming these too often. But yeah, lion's a good pal. Next up is number 105, Feralis. So Feralis is a fire-based pal. Scorching Predator is his special ability. And he has Kindling level 3, Transportation level 3, and you can farm these for Flame Organ. Feralis looks so cool on paper. But I'm going to tell you right now that Feralis is a big, big disappointment when you're actually playing for Alice. Yeah, I just not a big fan of Alice. I mean, it's a flame bird. You would think it would fight better, but it really doesn't. And I'm gonna put Alice in what's the point. I really don't feel Alice is too good. And I was very disappointed. Now here's a really, really cool POW, which is number 106 Orcs X. It's a dragon slash electric. One of the rarest types in the game. I don't know if any other POW is a dragon slash electric. Um, yeah, so that's really good. Ferocious Thunder Dragon is its special ability. Generating electricity level 4, handiwork level 2, transportation level 3. You're not going to be keeping this guy in the base too often, but he is one of the coolest pals in the game and very, very rare type in the Dragon Electric. So I like him a lot, and we're going to be putting him up in the best pals just for his uniqueness, good visual design, and good ability in combat. Next up, Shadowbeak. So this is a dark type POW. Modified DNA is its special ability, and it just has gathering level 1. You can farm these for POW metal ingots, carbon fiber, innovative technical manuals. The funny thing about these is you're mainly going to be using them for farming, to be honest, because Shadowbeak, it's not something you're going to really be using that much for actual. Yeah, it's not that good at the time of the game that you're getting it. Yeah, so I'm not a big fan of Shadowbeak, to be honest. It's kind of a what's the point, pal? Or just please just don't. It's bad, guys. It's bad. I tried fighting with this. It's just not good, guys. Okay, and now we're getting on to Foster Lion. So this is number 110. It's a ice variant. Yeah, so it's an ice type. Ice Steed is its special passive ability. Cooling level 4. You can farm these for ice organs and diamonds. So yeah, Frost Lion, very, very cool POW. Yeah, I do like this POW, and I do think it's quite good, probably in the low tier amazing. But yeah, it's got some very, very cool things going on. So now, guys, we are on to number 108, which is Paldius. This has got the special of Holy Knight of the Firmament. When you get these pals, they're mainly going to be battling pals. These are all like boss level pals. These are all ultra, ultra rares. None of these are mainly going to be used for the farming based stats. Now, I will put a note on these lists. Not all of these pals at this point in the list I have personally gotten. Some of these are really, really rare and at the end game. So from this point in the list onwards, like from point 107 onwards after Shadowbeak, it gets to be kind of a list of much more subjective. So I just wanted to note that. And then I'm going to have a TLDR in just a minute, summing everything up here. But Paldius, Holy Knight of the Firmament, it's a neutral based POW. Very, very cool looking POW. I definitely think it deserves to be an amazing just for its visual design. Really rare, very cool POW. And it is neutral, which is kind of nice, kind of bad. I wish it was a dual-based POW, to be honest, but not bad. Necromus. So Necromus is one that looks very, very, very similar to Paldius. So it's kind of like it's a very similar POW, and we're gonna put it right around that same level. So instead of neutral, this one's a dark variant. So instead of the Holy Knight of the Firmament, this is Dark Knight of the Abyss. We got some Dark Souls-esque themes going on there. I have actually played around with this POW. This is a beast, absolute beast in terms of fighting in your actual like your fighting team in POWs. So I would recommend getting Necromus. I think Necromus is really good, but Necromus is like I think I got him maybe 35 hours or 40 hours, like right before recording this video. I got him a few hours before. So really, really deep in the game. You're not going to be finding this very early. Number 1010, Frost Lion. Ice Steed. This is a cool POW. Frost Lion, I wouldn't say is incredible, but it's not terrible either. I'm not actually sure where the Frost Lion picture went, which is kind of bizarre. Yeah, but he's the Frost Lion and the Frost Lion Knock, so I think I must just have the Knock picture here. So this is the variant of the Frost Lion, which is a dark variant, where the regular Frost Lion is an ice variant. So yeah, so Frost Lion Knock, probably pretty average. I wouldn't say though anything exceptional, especially for this point in the game. Number 11 is the Jet Dragon or Jet Wagon. So this is one of the like ultra bosses. Aerial Missile. He's a pure dragon. an incredible beast to fight. Yeah, so this guy is definitely going to be in the amazing tier. But like I said, at this point in the game, you're basically maxed out in terms of your base, and you're using these guys mainly for your fighting team. And then everybody else from this point is ones that I either did not capture or I never used very much. So just kind of leaving these out here, guys, of ones that I found from various videos and or from various guides, but didn't ever use. So you can kind of put these in a separate tier of kind of did not use or don't have an opinion of. Most of these are either variants or they're like this one, for instance, is a variant of one we did earlier in the game. They're either variants or they're ones that honestly have very little utility or I never used. This is another variant, so most of these are variants. But I'm just not going to put that out there because I never used any of these, or if I did, I only used them once and just straight up don't remember it. So I hope you like this video, guys. I'm going to now do the TLDR section and tell you like some of my favorite pals, kind of where I think things are. My favorite pal in the game is definitely either Anubis or Bushi here. I think both of these pals are incredible. Early game pal, I think by far, Kadava is the best pal in the game. For wings, I would say definitely, get these pals that you can fly early. A lot of these pals here are either really, really good for base building, like these two pals right here, or they're super, super good for fighting, which is basically the later part of this tier list. Or the very uniques, like this one's the Electric Dragon pal. Sorry, guys, I have been recording for like 2 hours, so sometimes the names slip my mind. But yeah, go back to the relevant part of the video. I do have links below that will show you exactly which pals or which numbers. And so therefore, like you can actually look in the video description and kind of find out where you want to look for the specific pal you're interested in. I hope you guys have liked this video. I put so much work. Please, again, guys, click that link down below for the Into the AM t-shirts. They're incredibly great graphic t-shirts. Getting them directly supports the channel. Just do Let's Gear Up as a coupon code and you'll get 10% off site-wide. They're already extremely affordable. I love these t-shirts. Thanks again. Crush the like, hit that subscribe button, click the notification bell. I'm going to be doing a lot more Palworld's content. My throat is so dry. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I poured my heart out into this list. Really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.